Coming up on Cronkite NewsWatch.
Nearly 48 hours after the government closed its doors, we have the latest developments on the political turmoil in Washington.
Plus, with parks, monuments, and other attractions closed, we'll explain how the economy is affected by tourism in the Grand Canyon State and beyond.
And Phoenix is making it easier for commuters to ditch their cars in favor of the light rail, all with a helping hand from technology.
In-depth, insightful, innovative. Cronkite NewsWatch starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite NewsWatch. I'm Marcus Espinoza.
And I'm Ashton McCullough. Thanks for joining us. It's day 2 of the government shutdown, and Washington, D.C. continues to find itself in a partisan gridlock, even though President and House Speaker just wrapped up yet another meeting to try and strike a deal to end the shutdown. President Obama asked congressional leaders to visit the White House today in an effort to negotiate and reach some kind of deal that would reopen the government. Right now, holding up the issue is a stalemate over the president's Affordable Care Act and also a move to raise the debt ceiling. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid was involved in the closed-door meeting and continues to say the focus needs to shift from him and House Speaker John Boehner and remain on what is most important.
This is not about him or me, about scoring points for one side or the other, name-calling like the villain of villains. It's about doing the right thing for the American people.
Roughly 800,000 government employees have been unable to work since Tuesday, and that comes with the looming threat of not receiving their paychecks.
Overall, it is estimated that the shutdown is costing the U.S. economy $300 million each day. So where do Arizona's lawmakers stand today? Reporter Ashley Shumway joins us live from our Cronkite News Washington Bureau with the latest. Ashley?
Today, Arizona Congresswoman Ann Kirkpatrick spoke in the House about how the shutdown specifically affects the economy in Arizona. Republican and Democratic leaders are still pointing fingers at who is to blame for the shutdown in the first place. The House is preparing to vote again on some spending bills that would reopen some national parks, museums, and veteran services. But Kirkpatrick explained that the damage may already be done.
On day 1 of the shutdown, in my district, busloads of tourists and hundreds of visitors were turned away from the Grand Canyon National Park. These folks had waited a year or more for their turn to go on a river rafting trip in the canyon. There were even folks whose weddings, planned long ago, had to be scrapped yesterday.
Kirkpatrick says that Arizona is losing more than $1 million for every day the Grand Canyon is closed. She and other House Democrats are urging Speaker John Boehner to allow a vote to reopen the government completely. Live in Washington, D.C., I'm Ashley Shumway, Cronkite News.
Over in Representative Trent Frank's district, dozens of federal employees took to the streets to express their frustration after being furloughed. Reporter Karina Chavez takes us to the gates of Luke Air Force Base.
They held posters that said, "Stop the shutdown, pass a budget, we have families."
This is just a hot mess.
Diane Talley is one of the employees of Luke Air Force and has been for 15 years. But today, because of the shutdown, she finds herself protesting instead of working as an administrative assistant.
Sad because it's not only affecting myself, it's affecting millions of people.
About 25 people attended the rally this morning outside the North Gate, a fraction compared to more than 400 who've been furloughed with no end in sight. Harley Hemd is the local union president.
We aren't wealthy people. We need our paychecks, and we have to make our house payment, and this is affecting us because for next paycheck will be zero.
And with no income on the horizon, the future is uncertain, and there's little confidence Congress is just as worried.
They have their food in their refrigerator, they have a paycheck, they happy as can be. They went home and slept last night and the night before. Probably some of them with no worries.
So for now, these employees are left to protest or pound the pavement in search of work. In Glendale, Karina Chavez, Cronkite News.
Furloughs are also in effect at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, and 1,400 so-called non-essential federal employees with the Arizona National Guard were given orders that they will be off the job for the length of the shutdown.
Meanwhile, the fire chief for the city of Phoenix was in Washington today, offering testimony on federal emergency management agency funding and responses across the U.S. But Chief Bob Kahn expressed his frustration on trying to get business done in D.C. during the government shutdown.
We've had a number of high-profile rescues and missions that we've gone to. Most recently was Colorado. I don't think that there's any sense in the system that that's going to be delayed. More than anything, we were hoping to get more work done while we were here.
Meanwhile, people traveling from the valley to the nation's capital are left in a lurch when it comes to tourism. Cronkite News reporter Shane Dwyer spent the first day of the shutdown on the National Mall.
We've been planning this trip for well over a year.
Chandler resident Jonathan Argue is excited to finally be in the nation's capital.
Coming to D.C. from Phoenix or from any place in the United States is about feeling a sense of pride.
Visitors to Washington, D.C. woke up to the unpleasant news this morning that everything had closed. From the monuments to the museums and even the historic carousel on the mall.
All the monuments that you could go into, they're shut down. So we're still having a good time, but not as good of a time as we could have had.
That's because government employees who staff tourist hotspots like the National Mall and the Smithsonian were told not to report to work under the terms of the government shutdown.
Very disappointed. I think as our chosen leaders and frankly as a taxpayer, they've dropped the ball.
And while security works to keep people out, street vendors are working harder to welcome people in due to the large decrease in foot traffic.
You can see the government not work and no business at all. I have only 1-2 days, okay, but if more than that, it hurt a lot.
And although the plants will continue to be watered and the lights will stay on, the doors will stay closed for now.
It's frustrating, simple as that, just frustrating.
In Washington, D.C., I'm Shane Dwyer, Cronkite News.
Wanted to see the Grand Canyon up close and personal were turned away at the gate, but not everyone missed out on a view of the canyon. Westwind is an Arizona tourism company that provides airplane tours to the Grand Canyon and Sedona. The popular tourist destination is feeling the effects. Officials are expecting lost tourism to cost more than $1 million a day. Despite the shutdown, some people were still able to see the Grand Canyon from the air, but they had very limited access.
The national park is on the rim of the canyon, and there's a village there, there's overlooks there that normally we go into, and that will be closed if they close the national park. And so we won't be able to do that portion.
About 18,000 people usually visit the Grand Canyon in October, but for now, they'll have to enjoy what they can by air or wait until the shutdown is over.
One car maker is trying to ease the strain on their customers' wallets in the midst of the government shutdown. Hyundai announced that any furloughed government workers who currently have a lease or loan payments due, they will not be expected to pay those fees until the government reopens. Hyundai's CEO said in a statement, "This is our way of saying we've got your back during this uncertain time."
I take the light rail from my apartment to campus, and then I take the campus shuttle from downtown to west.
Student Hannah Anderson opts for public transportation over driving, and she's not alone. A new study by the Arizona PIRG Education Fund says many people now choose public transportation thanks to recent innovations in technology.
It's helping them to car share, bike share, and ride share, and all of these things are helping people with the movement away from driving.
The study found that Arizonans reduced their driving miles by 9.3% per person since 2006. One big reason for this is the ability to use services like Lyft, Uber, and Zipcar right on your smartphone. A new app called the Find My Train app allows light rail riders to take a look at train schedules right from their phones. With just a couple of swipes, you can look at routes, stations, and departure times.
We know that young people in particular are looking for other modes of transportation.
They are. According to AAA, Arizona has seen a 3% drop in teen drivers ages 16 to 18 since 2008.
Younger drivers are waiting longer to get their licenses, and they are driving less.
Meanwhile, the light rail has seen numbers like never before.
In the year 2020, we are anticipating to have 48,000 riders per day. We're currently at around 47,000 riders per day.
But for young riders like Anderson, having technology such as Wi-Fi on board is a pull factor when riding the campus shuttle.
I checked some assignments or just kind of overview of what I need to do or what chapters we're going to be going over in class.
In Phoenix, Kelly Anderson, Cronkite News.
The Arizona PIRG Education Fund plans to use these findings to push for policy changes in the near future.
Coming up on NewsWatch.
We'll tell you how a local booster club is raising more than morale for their high school football team.
And a middle school that goes beyond the books and teaches kids healthy habits to watch their waistlines.
How do we educate in a rapidly changing world?
How can we create a sustainable way of life?
How can we teach peace?
Arizona State University. Rise to the challenges before us.
Do you love taking pictures? Now you can share them with everyone. Join 8's online photo community that's all about you. Visit azpbs.org/capture for rules and information and start submitting today. When you want to be more connected, friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us online.
A growing concern over the Affordable Care Act is the number of doctors that will be available for a flood of newly insured patients. There are approximately 48 million uninsured people in the United States. The Affordable Care Act is expected to increase payment demand for medical services. This, combined with worsening shortage of doctors, will cause longer waiting for scheduled doctor's visits and more crowded emergency rooms.
A good way to prevent unnecessary doctor's visits is to start healthy habits early. Obesity in children has more than doubled and even tripled in adolescents over the past 30 years in the U.S. Our reporter Tara Molina visited a foundation that is trying to prevent childhood obesity in Arizona through in-school and after-school programs.
This is how the kids at ASU Prep end their day, kicking their heels and keeping the energy high.
The human body was built to eat natural foods and to get a lot of activity, and that we have to work a little harder to do that these days because of our lifestyles and the conveniences of modern society.
Nice job over here. They're working hard at this school every day, not just on their academics, but also on their overall health. It's part of a program called Healthy Kids, run by the Mullen Foundation.
One of our focus during the classroom lessons are on healthy habits, and then we start to introduce students to food.
And the hands-on approach to learning about a healthy lifestyle is a big hit with the kids.
This week we did a project around foods closest to nature, so students had an orange and then they had the cup and they just had a half orange, they squeezed it into the cup, and then we had them look at the orange and see what was left. And there was a lot left in the orange.
But it takes more than lessons in the classroom to make a true difference. So the school's reaching beyond these gates.
It really takes a community effort between school, student, and parent.
Support from parents makes a huge difference.
I don't think kids are getting enough exercise anymore, which contributes to the obesity problem that we have. So if they can't do it during the regular school day, then something like this is great.
Chura's daughter, Finley, likes the program so much, she's active in the after-school Healthy Kids program as well.
It's important to exercise so that you can stay healthy.
The school, students, and parents all agree that the program is teaching healthier habits. And the students have some advice for kids who aren't in the program.
Get off the couch and start running.
In Phoenix, Tara Molina, Cronkite News.
The Healthy Kids program currently includes 100 students at ASU Preparatory Academy. The Mullen Foundation implements and manages the free program in 1 to 5 new schools every semester.
When you think of football, the first thing that comes to mind are the players. But reporter Clarissa Tapia found out that sometimes there are others behind the scenes who might just be just as important.
Desert Vista High School is known for having a powerful football program, but there is also another group that makes sure the team is successful.
We allow the coaches to coach, the players to play, and we do everything else.
Hector is a proud member of the school's Football Booster Club, a club made up of parents who volunteer their time not only to raise funds for the team, but also do everything else that goes on behind the scenes.
We have about 180 players, and so the coaches and the administrators can only do so much.
The support of parents such as Hector is hard to come by, and even faculty admits without it, they wouldn't be this successful.
They do a lot more than just sit in a meeting and try to figure out how to make money. They actually are trying to make Desert Vista a better place.
While they might not wear a jersey, they are part of a team that helps raise money to help fund camps, equipment, and meals. When asked whether or not district funding is enough for the program, TJ Snyder responds with a simple,
Absolutely not.
although booster clubs might seem old school, at Desert Vista, it's a new school way of helping keep the students on the field and playing. In Phoenix, I'm Clarissa Tapia, Cronkite News.
And as for the parents, they said their biggest perk was getting to spend more time with their kids.
Coming up on Newswatch.
We'll tell you how ASU students took a dive in the dumpster to help the city of Phoenix clean up its act.
The potential for the first named snowstorm of the season is expected to hit the Rockies tomorrow, and we're in for some changes here in the valley. I'll tell you what that storm will bring close to home.
Tell him what's in your heart.
That's all ahead on tonight's News Hour.
Let's go!
Hang on! Wouldn't miss this for the world.
Well, most students start their day in an air-conditioned classroom, but imagine waking up early to go sift through a landfill.
Yeah, that's exactly what students from ASU's School of Sustainability did this morning. They studied thousands of pounds of trash as a part of a new initiative to help Phoenix improve recycling. Cronkite News reporter Joe Basaccia spent the morning at the waste facility. Joe, we heard you had quite a morning.
That's absolutely right, Marcus. It was quite the morning. Students sifted through over 6,000 pounds of trash, and to their surprise, they found that most people are doing a fairly good job at recycling. Now, this is part of a new initiative between ASU, SRP, and the city of Phoenix to find out where SRP is succeeding and where they can improve.
Trash is an ongoing problem in cities across the country. In Phoenix, students partnered with SRP and the city to help better understand what could be done to improve recycling habits.
Now, the ultimate goal of the day is to show the people of Phoenix just how much they're wasting and not recycling.
We hope to kind of bring to light how much trash is actually recyclable and compostable and give people an idea of how much trash actually does accumulate throughout the day.
The city hopes that this study can be shared with people getting rid of trash in the rest of the valley.
What we learn from them, we'd like to share with the region, with not just the Phoenix area, but the Phoenix metro area.
SRP knows that it has a responsibility to the community to keep Phoenix sustainable in the future. This study today is an important step in the right direction for them.
It first of all provides SRP with the opportunity to learn more about our waste stream and ways that we can reduce waste.
For students like Melissa, getting up early and digging through trash is worth it if people will change their habits.
What you're throwing away and having people have an idea of the volume that this ends up just in the landfill.
Something these students hope they can begin to cut down.
Now, I was told one of the biggest surprises is how much food is being wasted. And much of this food could easily be composted, which would save local landfills a lot of time and space. Live in Phoenix, Joe Basaccia, Cronkite News.
Now, it was a beautiful day to be out there recycling, but I'm wondering, how long is this good weather going to last? Marissa, what's going on out there?
Well, we're going to have a weather disturbance hit us tomorrow that could drop temperatures from that northwesterner that was up in the northwest. Now, that huge cold blast that pounded the northwest with snow is making its way towards the Rockies and Great Plains. This strong storm could potentially become the first named snowstorm of the season. Now, this storm brought up to 7 inches of snow, dangerous wind, and downpours to areas along along the Interstate 5, and even a tornado dropped down in Washington. Gusty winds and rain will move with this major cold blast and is expected to pound states like Idaho and Montana with inches of snow Thursday and Friday. Now, if we take a look at our satellite and radar system, you can see that we are under high pressure here in Arizona, which is keeping us very warm and dry. But take a look at that low pressure system right there. It's already moving over into Idaho. Now, this system is going to move down to our state, but it's not going to affect us too much like they are up in the north. You can see that this low is going to come on down, just hover over the Colorado area, but it is going to bring that cool air mass that will drop those temperatures and even bring some cold air to the valley. Now, we're already seeing those winds start to pick up in the high country. If we take a look at the wind speeds right now, you can see that it is gusty up in Flagstaff. They're at 50 miles per hour. You're at 20 miles per hour in the Grand Canyon. Now in Yuma and in Phoenix, we're under 10 miles per hour. But as the sun starts to set, we are going to be gorgeous through the evening. Right now, though, we are at 93 degrees. We do have that humidity at 17%, so it's not muggy outside. And we do have those west-southwest winds at 6 miles per hour. But we'll start to cool down, and we will be 69 in Phoenix. They're going to be close to freezing in the high country, 29 in Grand Canyon, and you'll bottom down and 70 in Yuma. Now tomorrow, you can see that we will slowly get to the 60s. And if you take a look, here's your 5-day forecast. I'll pull it up right now. You'll see that we will be hitting 80s by Saturday. Now that's it for your forecast. I'm Marissa Scott, Cronkite Weather.
Coming up on Newswatch.
The Cardinals made a rare in-season trade today. We'll tell you which starter is on the move. And despite their season being over, the Diamondbacks are piling up awards. Find out for what next in sports.
3, 2, 1.
Cronkite NewsWatch starts right now.
We'll show you new technology that's going to make that mission a little bit easier.
4 airports here in Arizona. Last night's championship game.
Live in downtown Phoenix, I'm Laura Monty.
Cronkite News.
What if students could see and touch atoms or unlock the secrets of Stonehenge? Now they can. Introducing PBS Learning Media, a next-generation digital service from 8 that lets students dive deeper and changes how they learn. See how Arizona's largest classroom is helping to build the classroom of tomorrow today at az.pbslearningmedia.org.
When you support your PBS station, you're supporting possibilities. You're making sure there's a place for independent voices. You're opening children's minds. And you're giving everyone the chance to find inspiration from the arts. To discover more, be more. Support possibilities. Support your PBS station.
The Arizona Cardinals shocked the league today when they made a trade. They traded their former number 5 overall draft pick Levi Brown to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It sent shockwaves throughout the locker room and throughout the team. Now he'll be replaced by an undrafted free agent left tackle. We'll see if that move pays off for the Cardinals. Now in other news, not the only new player in Pittsburgh is Levi Brown, but the Pittsburgh Steelers are also a new team in the playoffs for Major League Baseball. It's the first time they've been in the playoffs since 1992, and last night they sent a knockout blow to the Cincinnati Reds.
Wild card game.
Here was the scene last night in Pittsburgh as the crowd was in a frenzy at PNC Park, and the Buccos responded early in the second. Marlon Byrd goes big fly, taking Reds pitcher Johnny Cueto deep to left, and the Reds season started to unravel in front of them. 2 batters later, and boom, see you later. Russell Martin, big fly, his second home run of the night for the Pirates. It's going to send the Reds packing. Pirates win it 6-2. Go crazy, folks. The Pirates move on to face the St. Louis Cardinals in the divisional series. Now it's hockey season, and while the Coyotes don't have to worry about where they'll be playing this year, there's still one big question. Can the Yotes win the Cup? After a winning preseason, the Coyotes officially begin the season tomorrow night against the Rangers. Several experts have the Coyotes making a run at the Stanley Cup, and ESPN's Scott Burnside even picked the team to win it all. The Coyotes missed the playoffs for the first time in 3 years last season. Head coach Dave Tippett reminded everybody that you can't win a cup if you're not in the postseason.
You know, we want to make sure that we're, we compete well within our division, but that being said, you got to find a way to get in that playoff spot, and that's the first goal of this team.
While some teams are preparing for their season openers, other teams are preparing for the offseason. The Diamondbacks aren't in the playoffs, but reporter Mariah Baker tells us that the team and its fans are still winners, and they're not walking away empty-handed.
The Arizona Diamondbacks were recently named the #1 franchise in Major League Baseball by ESPN.
And now, taking the field, your Arizona Diamondbacks.
And if you attended one of their 81 home games this season, you'd know why.
It's so unique that fans can determine the ranking, and in this case, they're looking at everything from bang for their buck to ownership to the players to the run for the title. But all of that really covers the entire organization and what we're focused on each and every day.
What they are focused on is that the families have a great experience and that fans have something to talk about.
The fan entertainment we call our game operations, and to me it is the best in all of baseball, if not in all of sports, and it really is the show away from what's going on the field. It's very important for us to make sure that we don't gouge the wallet of our fans when they come here to Chase Field.
While the season is over here at Chase Field, as the team finishes 81-81 on the season, employees and fans alike will continue to hold their heads high as these awards keep piling up.
I think this is one that not only our employees and our players are celebrating, it's also our fans that are celebrating too. It's now a point of pride. They can check that off that they're the #1 team in baseball.
And here's to hoping they continue that trend next year. In downtown Phoenix, Mariah Baker, Cronkite Sports.
That's it for Cronkite NewsWatch tonight.
Thanks for joining us. Good night.